Hello, welcome back to Blender SVG Live Loading. In this episode, we're gonna take a look at Sverchok profile parametric nodes. So this node is particularly special because it's allowing you to draw curve parametrically, like just like if you are using SVG path, which is the Scalable Vector Graphics. Yeah, there is this long documentations that you can take a look and study yourself. But I'm gonna try to kind of going through an example. There's of course some example here that we can use right away, and this one is particularly very interesting. It's allowing you to kind of turn all this curve into variable that you parameters that you can change. Very cool nodes actually. And at some point, I'll actually gonna use this Mozilla SVG path documentations to help me to explain what's going on, especially this part with the arc. The arc is especially confusing. So let's get started. They basically with I'll delete everything here and gonna jump into compositing, Sverchok add-on, new, and here I'll create a new text editor and I'll call this path. Doesn't matter what you call it, it's just a text object. And here let's gonna use profile parametric. This node might seems alien at first, but it's gonna be really useful. I guarantee that. So this is profile parametric demo 001, and let's just jump into it. This is the default. The axis is actually if we are drawing the path from the top view orthographically, and then z-axis is pointing to the camera. This is actually correct. So z is correct. So with the text object, I will select the path, and we're gonna use viewer draw, plug in the vertices and the edges. By default, it's gonna give us error. It's red color. And by default, also we have this a and b like a parameter by default, and we're not gonna use them yet. But let's get started. So from the documentation, you can see you can use certain like language, the command, line by line commands that's allowing you to give a starting point, I think, and then there's a line to kind of connect the line, and then there's curve to, there's also arc, and then the close. So 1 2 3 4 5 different commands, including this is for commenting. And the idea is to use text, and this text will be translated into this curve. This might look scary at first, but I guarantee it is going to be quite fun. So let's just get started. We're going to start with M00. This is almost like always a starting point. It's the move to commands, but I'll just start at 00, and then the next line I'll say draw line into let's say we start at 0 0 0, and I'm gonna use this 3D cursor of Blender to explain the whole thing. I'm gonna put it there at 0 0 0. That's the 3D cursor, and that's the location. Just look at the X and Y, 0 0. And we're gonna draw the next, draw a line to maybe to this guy, to here. 1 2, x1 y2. So 1 and 2. Update it, and now Sverchok actually happy with this data, and it's drawing the line from 0 0 0 to 1 2. And we can use index viewer to help us see what the index is, but soon you will see that drawing the viewer index might actually cover a lot of things. Anyway, this is the 0, 0, 0. With the, I like to actually, because Sverchok updates only if you kind of disconnect and connect this guy. Sometimes I like to turn on the animations, let this update on every frame, and then I'm gonna try to just change the value here. So 0. So that's the starting point. You can see it's you can control it very easily. Let's say I replace it with this A and B, or just the A. For example, the A is a float value, and I'm gonna replace this with A. Now I can play around with that value, the X of the starting point. Okay, so that's pretty clear. The cool thing about line, you can actually draw another line, like this is from 0, 0, 0 to 1. So 1, 2. The next line probably somewhere around here. Let's say draw it at 2, 1.5, 2, 1.5. You just type it like that, and then update it, and then you can see it's there's another line being drawn. It doesn't seem to connect the line, but if I try to just type X, that's actually connected. That's actually interesting because suddenly we have some kind of branching there. Draw another one, 0 to somewhere here, 2, 0.5, 2, 2, 0.5, and again we have some kind of branching, which is kind of interesting because I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, you can actually do it that way. So that's pretty cool. But the interesting part here that you can also kind of draw further. Here, for example, you want to draw from this branch, you just draw another one from 3 to this 3.3 and 2.3, 3.3 and 2.3. So you can draw some kind of branching. So actually, this is actually quite interesting because you can easily draw branching line like that. So this is actually, I didn't plan this, but this is cool. Oh, that's actually, you need to join the line there. So it's actually 3 lines, but that's cool. So we can do branching very easily. I'm gonna save this and then save a new one. Let's not do the branching yet, and let's just go back to what we have. So 0, let's say we draw from 0 to this guy up here. So it's gonna be 0 and 2, 0 and 2, and the next one maybe here, 1 and 2, space 1, 2, or 1, 2, 1, 3, doesn't matter, 1, 3, and the next one here, somewhere here, 2 to this one, 2 and 2, spacebar 2 and 2. Now we kind of just like draw lines here. So this is starting point, and we're gonna draw lines, and you can control the A, of course. And the A, for example, the maybe points number 2 here kind of follow the A here. So we're gonna type A. So now the point is kind of controlled using that value, so using that parameter. So that's pretty clear. The line is actually pretty easy, and at any point, if you, for the next line, you type X, it's gonna connect the last point into the first point, and you can bake it and you get this shape. Very nice. And so what's the next command that we have? So we have move to, we have line to, draw line into this line, and then we can have curve to and arc to. Arc to is kind of tricky, but we're gonna have a look at curve to as well. Maybe we need to separate this example. Let's try curve to first. It says you need to have 2v for control point 1, control point 2, and then the not, the number of vertices as integer, and another like extra value there, the spread value. Let's just give it a try. I think you can actually have multiple value here, at least 3 vector value in x and y. So let's try that. Might be slightly tricky, but we're gonna try to draw maybe between this guy and this guy. Let's try anyway. So I'm gonna keep this running. C for the curve, and I'm gonna type in maybe a point somewhere here, 2.2, 1.2, and this one 1.5, 0.5, 0.7, 0.2, so, and then I'll have a 2 integer. So yeah, for the arcs, actually this is like a 3-point arcs of Sverchok, I believe. It's quite easier to understand than compared to the arc. Later you will see. So this point you can kind of control the, let's say for the x, for this guy I'll just use A and B. I just make this 0 and stop this, and then make this 0 and 0, playback. So I will play around with this value. So that's actually the last, that point that you can connect to 0 and 0. So let's just make this 0 and 0. So we have arc. Let's play with this value, A and B. This is for the arc, I think. I mean for the curve, for that high point there for this curve. And this curve definitely 2.2. This guy right here. Let's make it 3 and 1 maybe. 3 and 1. That means 3 and 1 is somewhere around here. It's kind of like the high point, but well, I think, but anyhow, the curve is very is more straightforward, and this is 10 is actually the number of sample you can have. You can have 100 or 10 or 5. Let's say 5. Okay, 5 like looks like that. Let's make this 3 and 2. So that's controlling that. Curve is anyway easier compared to the arc. Arc is actually kind of confusing for me. There is like a Rx, Ry, rotations. Arc is actually related to ellipse, and if you are drawing arc, there is this example from Mozilla documentations that's using the, this is the starting point, and this is the line, and this is the arc. It's gonna be drawing 2 arc that's kind of like a represented, there's some kind of ellipse there that you're rotating 45 degrees. So I'm gonna actually copy this and use it inside Sverchok. It will work. Copy that, and I'm gonna create a new path, call it path B, and this is from Mozilla example. Clean it up. The syntax might be slightly different from SVG, but the number is there. And let's change this to path B. Delete this. actually delete everything and Profile Parametric, select the path V. Path V is especially to explain the arc. So let's do this one line by line. I'm gonna comment out some lines. First of all, start with the M. It doesn't work because we need to add a comma. This value is pretty big, and that's mean we need to zoom out a little bit. So with the Mozilla, actually, if you look at this guy, that's how it looks like. In Blender, it seems like it's gonna be like some kind of the opposite. Or if you look at it from the bottom, I think it's gonna be the same. Look at it from the bottom. So I believe that's M. Index viewer. So that's the first one, 0, 0, or this is the first one, and this is the second command, draw the line. The next one is supposedly to draw the arc, but let's skip the arc for now, and then just draw a line for this and this. You will see we're gonna have a gap. There you go. There's a gap. We need to fill using using our arc. So let's draw the arc now. Arc. So that's with the example from Mozilla. There is no comma or things like that. But for Sverchok, you can actually you need to add a comma and also add a sampling and start to make sense after you do this. So it's starting to draw a line, which is pretty cool. It's already happening, and then let's draw another arc. So the first two supposedly for the rotation X and rotation Y, and then this 3 value here for the axis rotation, and this is for the position of the last point, I believe, and this is for sampling. So now if you look at this, compare it with the Mozilla one, it's exactly as if you have like, if you're drawing a circle, and or actually not a circle, like some kind of ellipse. It's gonna match. So the second one actually being, the ellipse is being rotated 45 degrees. And that 45 degree is represented by this value right here. This is actually like axis rotations. So if I change this minus 45 with A and use the A up here, update it, you can see it's if I rotate this, it's almost like rotating the ellipse. So we need 45, of course, in this case, in order to match it with this example, 45 degree. And the cool thing with the arc is that you can flip it. You can flip the arc using this value. So you either use the shortest part or the longest part. So that's that. This 30 and 50 is actually for the radius of the ellipse. And if I replace this with let's use integer for the A and for the B, and then replace this with A and B, you can see how this looks. So A and B, so that's controlling the radius of the ellipse. It's not the easiest to understand, but it's starting to make sense once you play around with the parameter and look at it interactively. So this is the axis, and this is the A and B is the for that radius. And maybe I should copy this and then paste it here anyway as a comment, you know, if you want to have a read. And this thing at the back is actually for the position of the points up here. If I put the 3D cursor there, you can look at the 3D cursor position. 210 is around 210 or 215 and 109. And this is 160, 160. So yeah, that's correct. That's matching. And this is, of course, the sampling of the points. So that's for the arc 2, basically, in the nutshell. And with the profile parametric, of course, you can draw any kind of curve. It's pretty powerful. You can draw anything. And if you don't, let's say you have like some kind of curve that you're drawing yourself in Blender, you have a curve, you go to edit mode, and then you can extrude it, just draw up some kind of curve like this. If you like this curve and you want to turn it into parameter, you can apparently do that as well. So with profile parametric, this curve, select, and right away you can see this curve has been turned into profile parametric. And look at this. You get a bunch of value that you can actually adjust and play around with. Let me make it full screen. Just investigate this a little bit. Accurate till fix. There's a line, okay. But you get all this value to represent the curve. This is actually very cool, because once you get into the, you use the parameter, like use variable for the parameter, you can start to make changes and you get the result. If I go smaller, compare the original curve with this final result, they are supposedly matching, but yeah, not quite sure exactly what's going on, but let's try anyway. Let's check it out. So that's actually, yeah, that's actually matching. It's like almost if the curve is closed, but this is actually quite accurate. And if you get inside and then replace some numbers with parameter, you can start to adjust this manually, and you get some kind of nodes to represent your curve. So profile parametric is it's not easy nodes to use, because you start to use like a command, like a text to represent your curve, your profile. But once you have like a bunch of library like this, you can simply copy and paste, and you can draw any path, basically any drawing, any symbol, logo, or like a text, like alphabet. You can draw it that way. So I think this cover this profile parametric, and it's almost half an hour. No, it's 25 minutes, 23 minutes. But I think, yeah, it should be clear now. You can use this command to draw any kind of profile. It takes practice, but it can be very, very powerful, especially when you start to do like branching and things like that. You can draw a tree using this, I think. And it's not just 2-dimensional, it can be 3-dimensional as well. Oh, actually, no, it's only 2-dimensional, maybe. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this live learning. Hopefully this is useful. Let me know what you think, maybe something to add. But that's pretty much it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.